All right, guys. So there's a lot going on in the news, and there's a lot to cover. Um, if you're just joining us, we're going to talk about what's going on with the corruption with the Bidens, and especially in the Democratic National Party or the Democratic Party. There's Adam Schiff. I mean, it's just absolutely insane what's going on, and so basically, let's just get into it. So basically, Donald Trump makes a phone call to the Ukrainian president, President Zelensky, asking him to essentially investigate corruption. Now, I don't know if it's a secret. This is something I've known that's been going on for a long time, and it's just something that sort of was mentioned in Fox News. And I'm not sure that the mainstream media has really picked up on this, but uh, political what would be the word, opposition research, um, regarding your other opposition candidates and stuff like that. They dig up the dirt. They utilize it. If they're the incumbent, they're already using foreign intelligence services to dig up dirt to circumvent intelligence laws. So there's certain executive orders, Executive Order 12333, and a couple other executive orders and federal laws that prevent intelligence activities on U.S. persons. Now, the FISA is Foreign Intelligence and Surveillance Act. So basically, what FISA is doing, the FISA courts allows um, grants intelligence activities where U.S. citizens may be involved in foreign intelligence connections. So, for example, um, like terrorism, the reason why FISA became so mainstream is because of connections to possible terrorism organizations and things like that. So, uh, as we already know that the FISA warrants and stuff like that from the Steele dossier were overreaching. It started from basically a lie, basically corruption, and it sort of snowballed, and they manipulated the FISA courts in order to spy on the Trump campaign. So let's take a step back from the Steele dossier. In 2014, Hunter Biden joins the board at Burisma Holdings, which is a Ukrainian oil company, and he starts to earn $50,000 to $60,000 a month with absolutely no prior knowledge. Um, so now in 2016, actually from let's get into the Hillary Clinton emails. The Hillary Clinton emails um, were actually investigated by a company called I think Crime Strike. I think it was, and let's just look it up real quick. Um, but anyways, supposedly this company, um, yeah. So you look it up and it all comes up in Ukrainian. That's funny. All right. So Hillary Clinton's emails. I'm sorry, I should have had this pulled up, but we're gonna look at. I just want to get the chronological dates down, so that way it all makes sense. Yeah. So it's unbelievable. So like 2016, right? So basically in 2016. So then you got Benghazi, right? In the investigation of Benghazi, and then you got Hillary Clinton deleting all these emails in 2016. She's running for president, um, and she's the Democratic um, candidate, and all of this basically comes to fruition only because President Trump is running. And so now he vows to get to the bottom of the corruption that tried to oust out himself from becoming president. and he's on the phone with the Ukrainian president who ran on the similar beliefs, the similar principles and ideologies that President Trump ran on, which is drain the swamp, which he mentions in the phone conversation himself. He uses the exact, let's just call it, rhetoric that President Trump used during his campaign. And he says in the transcript, President Zelensky says in the transcript, you know, we looked up to you. We used some of the same tactics and ideologies and principles that you used. You know, we vow to drain the corruption that's inside of Ukraine, and we're going to do that. We're going to surround ourselves with good people. We're going to do that, and we're going to oust out the corruption. That's basically what it is. So in the conversation, in that context, President Trump says, well, if that's the case, you know, and you're good people, do me a favor and look into Crime Strike, because apparently you guys have a server with all this investigative tools on it, and some of the information that you guys got, some of the emails you got from Hillary Clinton's server, and I want you to look into that for me. Well, people spun that into a quid pro quo, like, okay, if you don't do me this favor, then I'm gonna withhold aid, and there was absolutely no mention of that at all. So now Adam Schiff and a bunch of the other Democrats are twisting this into thinking that somehow there's this quid pro quo. He's investigating. Listen, if you're a politician and you're running for presidency, you're not immune to anti-corruption investigations from foreign entities by the president of the United States just because you're running for president. Just it doesn't make you fucking immune, okay? It doesn't. All right? And you can sit there all day long and say, okay, well, I'm immune to it because you're doing opposition research and you're using your oath of office for a political gains, but it's not the case, okay? Now, Hillary Clinton, there's a spike, right? There's a spike in rhetoric or propaganda about Hillary Clinton potentially running in 2020. Now, if Hillary Clinton runs in 2020, she's going to lose. She's absolutely going to lose like she did in 2016. But the question is, does she know she's going to lose? And I think she knows the answer to that, and I think it's yes. I think she knows she's going to lose. And I think she knows she's going to lose, but she's going to run anyways, and it's based on the same principles that Egypt attacked Israel. And they knew they were going to lose. And the whole idea behind that is there's something to gain, and that is amnesty. She's going to gain immunity from political persecution by the president on the same ideals that Joe Biden is gaining immunity. So the public is saying, okay, well, the president of the United States is not allowed to investigate his opponents with any foreign ties or any foreign corruption because he may gain some sort of political favor during the elections, the election process, which is absolutely absurd. You can't just gain some sort of anti-corruption immunity because you're a candidate for an elected office. That's absolutely insane. So that's the corruption that we're seeing, right? So then this whistleblower now knows that this whistleblower had contact with Adam Schiff in his committee prior to the whistleblower going to the IG. We also now know that this whistleblower had an extensive relationship with one of the Democratic candidates for presidency. I mean, you can't make this shit up. You can't make it up. I mean, guys, how in your face does this have to be? If you're not following politics and you've made it this far in my rant, I mean, you really have to stop and think about this for a second. You can't make this shit up. So the whistleblower goes to Adam Schiff's committee tells them about said knowledge, okay, secondhand information. Then they conspire and say, okay, this is what we're going to do with this information. And since January 20th of 2017, they've already been conspiring to get the president impeached. It's been documented, okay, since January 20th of 2017. And I don't even know what day the inauguration is, but the inauguration is not that earlier than January 20th. I mean, it must have been a couple of days or at the most a couple of weeks. So since Donald Trump's inauguration, they basically swore to impeach him. And they have done so ever since. So this is just another attempt at a political coup to try and overturn a democratic process in which we, the people, voted for our president. Okay? Ukraine goes on record. Okay, not on record. I'm sorry. So I get knowledge of a video from Blaze TV about Ukrainian officials who attempted to help Hillary Clinton win in 2016. This is insane, guys. This is insane. And it fails. And they're like, well, why did it fail? Why? And they're talking in Ukrainian. And I'm trying to get somebody who knows Ukrainian to actually back check what it is that Blaze TV put on there. I have no reason to believe that Blaze TV would put out misinformation, but it's possible. In today's day and age, you never know. But at least according to Blaze TV, they were aware they had tried to help Hillary Clinton win in 2016, and it failed miserably. And they're talking about what it is that they're going to do. You know, all of this major concerns are coming out because Hillary Clinton lost. Okay, and then you got, you know, Russia and Iran and all of these fake Facebook accounts that are being created to try and pander to them and publish propaganda and things like that. Not to mention you got Facebook, Google, and all these other entities that have a huge investment problem in China. So that's where a lot of this direction is coming from. Why are they supporting the Democratic Party and things like that? It's because they're in bed with these people. They're in bed with Russia. They're in bed with China. They're in bed with Iran. I mean, the uranium and things. Oh man, it doesn't stop, guys. It doesn't stop. It goes so deep. It's so tedious and meticulous. You just got to look. It's so difficult for the American person to have the discipline and the time and the energy to put into this and to dig deep into what is really going on with the Democrats, because you got basically parent companies who own subsidiaries who own other subsidiaries, and they basically launder money through all of these holding companies and shell companies and funds and trusts and things like that. And they have different board members and different presidents and different secretaries and treasurers, and you got to look through all of these business reports and things like that to find out who owns what. And it gets so tedious, guys. But ultimately, when you get to the very top of the pyramid, you learn that really all this money's coming from none other than Hillary Clinton, Obama, things like that. And then, John Kerry, former Secretary of State. So it's just absolutely insane what it is that these guys have been doing during their appointed oaths of office or their elected offices. And the corruption is just so deep, guys. It's so deep. So then we fast forward now, right, to 2019, okay? So basically 2.5 years of attempts at trying to oust out an elected president via political coup, and President Trump has a benign phone conversation with President Zelensky, and he says, hey, listen, can you look into the corruption for me which is his God-given right and his duty as president of the United States. And they're saying, "Oh, you can't do that because Joe Biden is your opponent in the election, and you're actually it's part of campaign finance fraud. It's a quid pro quo. You violate your oath of office. We're going to impeach you." Mind you, Nancy Pelosi announced that they were going to move forward in their impeachment inquiry before the transcript was released and before the whistleblower complaint was released. What does that tell you guys? I mean, if you got this far in my video, what does that tell you? That tells you they had prior knowledge of the whistleblower. Okay? They had to have something, some substance, something that gave Nancy Pelosi enough confidence to move forward. Now, mainstream media will have you believe that it was because of the far left and they're, pushing her in all this other stuff. No. She had prior knowledge of the whistleblower complaint. Adam Schiff and the committee had prior knowledge of the whistleblower complaint before he went to the IG. Okay? And they used this, okay? And they should have waited. They fucked up. Thank you. They fucked up. So they fucked up. They announced the impeachment inquiry the day, and they probably had they didn't know that President Trump was going to release these transcripts. He said he was going to do it, but they didn't know to what extent the conversation was about. And so now they're backpedaling and they're saying, wait. It's not the whole transcript. You moved it to a classified system and a sensitive compartmentalized information. First of all, let's just make something painfully clear. A conversation between two heads of state is classified. Already. It's classified. Okay? Secret. Boom. Instantly. It's already on a separate information network. It already is. It's called the SIPRNet. You can't get it by Googling it. You can't. It's on its own network. You can't get to it. Okay? That's one. So, mainstream media, Adam Schiff, all of these Democrats would have you believe that it was moved from an unclassified domain to a classified domain. That's wrong. It was already classified. They declassified it to release it. Okay? That's what happened. Okay? For them to say that it was moved to a sensitive compartmentalized information system is just nuts to me. Listen, in 15 years of military intelligence, in 10 years of military intelligence while in the Marine Corps, with access to a variety of systems, okay, at no point in my career could I just look up the fucking president's conversations. I can't. I can't go on the damn SIPRNet and just Google POTUS conversations and find it. It's already inherited. It's already locked down to the White House. You just can't do it. I mean, they're making something up that's not even there, guys. That's not even there. It doesn't even make sense. You guys got to think about this for a second, okay? It's already classified. You can't just get on the SIPRNet and Google what you want to find, okay? It's in the intelligence community, there's a right to know and a need to know. That's your basis for access to information, okay? The right to know, okay, is because of my job. I had access to classified information. Now, the need to know is what classified information do you get access to? And that's part of the sensitive compartmentalized information process. Okay? You don't get access to everything just because you have a top secret clearance. You have to get read into certain programs because you have a need to get access. Not just because you have access. That's totally different. Okay? Plus, just because you hold a top secret clearance doesn't mean you need access to top secret information. So I can have a top secret clearance, but it doesn't mean I even have access to the system at all. Period. So let's just get something painfully clear out there. You know, the president's conversation inherently is already classified. They did they were transparent in their effort to declassify the transcript and to publish it. That's what happened. So now, after all of this bullshit's coming out in the news, lo and behold, what do we have? What was announced today? Two gentlemen in the state of Florida were arrested flying into Dulles Air Force or into Dulles Airport, and they're arrested on campaign finance charges for allegedly circumventing campaign donations to President Trump. The indictment was released and unsealed and released. I mean, is the timing perfect? Unbelievable. The timing is absolutely insane, guys. So that doesn't mean that President Trump had any knowledge of wrongdoing. It doesn't mean that anybody in the executive office had any knowledge of wrongdoing. It just basically means that these two individuals who were arrested either A, really supported President Trump and what it is that he was doing, and they were trying to provide as much money as they possibly can. The investigation is still ongoing, and we won't know. But more importantly, how did the SEC or the FEC or anybody become aware of this information? That's what I want to know. Who tipped them off? Where did they get this information? Because I'm pretty sure the Bank Secrecy Act just prevents people from willy-nilly running, running people's bank records. So you just can't do it. So it'll be interesting to see where that goes, guys. Listen, I gotta run. I appreciate you being here with me today at American Overwatch. I know I'm overdressed, but I had to get my thoughts out before I forgot them. So thank you so much again for joining me here at American Overwatch. Visit me at AmericanOverwatch.org. If you like our content, please help us out by going to Patreon.com right here. Boop boop. Where's it at? There it is. Go to that and try to hook us up with some donations. It helps us with FOIA requests, public records requests. And you can always follow me on Telegram up at the top right. And then there's my email if you ever need to reach out. Thank you so much again for watching, and please have a blessed day, and we'll see you on the next one.